Part 2 of Full Court Press Basketball Debate, May 26, 2015. Chris Guyette here with Yvonne Juneau. The NBA, before...
So, wait, are we finished discussing?
Yeah.
So you do not believe that honesty is the best policy? I'm not talking about advertising things people don't need to know. But if he was, I'd love to know the circumstances. If he was asked a direct question, he should have given a direct and honest answer. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
As LeBron James, I would avoid the media. That's what I would do.
Oh, there's no doubt about that, but they're everywhere he goes.
Before last night's Houston win, the NBA thought about moving the finals up to June 2nd if both of the series were sweeps, as opposed to when it is scheduled June 4th. But the series are not both sweeps, as was proven last night by the Houston Rockets, so it will stay at June 4th.
Okay.
Would this have been a good or bad idea, and why?
I don't think it makes any difference one way or the other, do you?
You don't think that makes a difference? The one that is so fond of changing the schedule for games that are close to one another?
Okay, but wait a minute. They would have moved it up if there would have been sweeps.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I see where you're going. That would have given them more time to rest.
No, that would have given them less time.
All right, let me read this again.
The finals are scheduled to start on June 4th.
Okay.
If both of the series would have been sweeps...
Which would have meant last night and tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
They would have moved them to June 2nd, 2 days earlier.
Okay.
You are very fond of saying the games should not be so close together.
I agree. There needs to be more rest time in between.
So would this have been a good or a bad idea?
You know, as much as I say that they need to be further apart, yes, on the side of caution for health purposes, okay, I know what I'm fond of saying. But I also remember what you say, and I listen to everything you say, and I try to rationalize everything you say, and 99% of the time, what you say with validity, and you say things that make me question why I think and feel the way that I do. I know you didn't want a philosophy lesson here, but there's a reason that things happen the way that they do. And you have a word that you use almost every time we have a debate and every time that we have a discussion about basketball and the NBA and whatever. And that word is momentum. And if you let somebody sit out for too long, I know and I understand where you're coming from. It may have hurt them more to have time off, to let the soreness kick in, to let it plays with your mind, to let your thoughts ramble, to go back and forth with the, oh my God, are we going to win? Oh my God, what do we need to do to win? Oh my God, are we up for losing? I mean, I could go either way on this. But I understand where you're coming from. I really do. But I still say, and I will always say, and all three of the analysts last night during the game said, this is ridiculous. How many injuries, how much people are hurt, how people are having to make substitutions on almost every team before we even get to the playoffs, because these guys right now are running on sheer willpower and determination. So, do I think the extra time off would have been good? I'm going to have to stand by my original thought, because I think that their health should come first. It makes them stronger. It gives them a break. It gives them a chance to rest.
So you like the fact that they didn't move them up to June 2nd?
Correct. Now, on the other hand, is that detrimental to them? Because you and I both know, if you go do a really hard workout this afternoon, you're gonna feel it more 2 days from now than you're gonna feel it tomorrow.
Of course.
Because the day of rest in between, that's when those muscles stiffen up and get tight
Of course.
and whatever. So the extra rest probably does them some good, but it may hurt them also at the same time.
So you're glad that they didn't move him up to June 2nd?
Yes.
So am I.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go into a dissertation about it.
I couldn't have said it better.
I was just, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. Because I listen to everything you say. And I try to see things from both sides.
I couldn't agree more. I mean,
Okay.
I think that especially now, because it is the same teams
It's a moot
playing
point now.
every night.
It's a moot point now.
It is the same teams playing every night. It's not like you have 30 teams to choose from and put on the schedule. You got 4 teams.
Right.
And it's going to be 2 that you have to, I mean, you got to give them a break somewhere. I'm glad that they're sticking with June 4th and not June 2nd.
Yeah.
I really am. Paul Pierce could opt out of his deal with Washington and sign with the Clippers. Yvonne. We're going to break this down because this is pretty big.
When did you find out about this?
This is what Bleacher Report can do for your life.
Okay. Is that just a rumor?
That is a little bit more than a rumor. He's actually thinking about doing that.
Okay, can I ask you a question since I don't understand all the particulars sometimes from the front office? Okay? How can he opt out of his deal with Washington when you tell me...
He signed a 2-year deal, but that second year has what is called a player option on it. There's a guaranteed salary that comes with that year.
Is that what Ray Allen did? Isn't that what that's something somebody did?
Well, that's what LeBron's doing.
Okay.
LeBron signed a 2-year deal with Cleveland, but that second year is a player option.
Okay.
So that's what Pierce did. He can choose to opt in or he can opt out and become a free agent. We're going to break this down. We're going to break this down.
Paul
Question
Pierce
A.
playing for Doc again with Chris Paul on the team. Woo!
Question A. The good things about this move.
Well, I just named 3 of them. Playing with Doc again? For Doc again? And playing with Chris Paul? It's not the same as going back to Boston, but being a Clipper, he's obviously not happy where he is.
The good things about this move are, number 1, he and Doc Rivers have a history,
Oh,
which is good.
absolutely.
Paul Pierce is very successful when he plays with winning point guards.
Right,
Rajon Rondo was on the team
right,
that got him his ring.
right.
And I think Paul Pierce, what is the Clippers' main struggle? They can't get over that playoff hump.
Right.
Paul Pierce could do it. Paul Pierce is great in the playoffs, but you're putting a lot of faith into 1 year. Now, do you see any bad things about this move?
I'm wondering, I don't know if it's a bad thing because I don't know. You got 2 very strong mentors, very strong personalities, very strong veterans who know the game, who know what it's about. Would they complement or would they clash?
Who are you talking about?
Chris Paul and Paul Pierce. There could be some...
I don't think it's about that.
I'm asking you a question.
I think they would be fine.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think there'd be any jealousy, animosity,
If there's any
competitiveness?
jealousy, it's going to come from Blake Griffin.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Answer my question first, though, about Chris Paul.
Chris
and
Paul will get along
Pierce.
with pretty much anybody. Pretty much anybody. I don't think there would be a problem between Chris Paul and Paul Pierce. I don't, at all. Not in the least.
Well, I know one thing. I know they would probably respect the hell out of each
Not
other.
in the least. I think the problem comes in because Blake Griffin wants to be the guy that leads the team, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is a good quality. But he wants to be the guy that takes the last shot.
Yeah.
He wants to be the guy that wins the game.
Yeah, but he's not a clutch player.
And he's not there.
No. Absolutely
And Paul
not.
Pierce has established not only a career, but I would go as far as to say a legacy
Of being.
of being that guy. New or not new to the team, you don't not go to Paul Pierce in the clutch moments. I think Blake Griffin would have an extreme problem with that. And you want to talk about two very strong personalities, because Paul Pierce, excuse my French, doesn't take shit from anybody.
Oh, no. As he should not.
And Blake
He
Griffin.
shouldn't.
And Blake Griffin. Beep, 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 beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep,
And
beep,
he's a
beep.
hothead. Yeah.
Mm-mm. I see a huge rift right there. I do. I see a huge rift. Now, the big question. Yes or no? And why?
Well, yes, of course. Who wouldn't want Paul Pierce on their team?
I'm talking about from Paul Pierce's perspective. Should he go to Los Angeles? Why or why not?
Oh, from Paul Pierce's point of view? Oh, wow, I could make an argument for either side.
Anybody could. It's what side is stronger.
I would have to say no. Oh, wow, this is hard. Yes, because he would get to play with Doc, for Doc. Yes, because he would get to play with Chris Paul. No, because of the controversy with Blake. I think he needs to stay with Washington. I think this year he established himself with Washington. I think as far as they got in the series, and let's face it, who's the face of the team after this year for Washington?
After this coming year, after this past year,
After this past season?
I could make an argument for three different players.
Who?
John Wall, Bradley
Okay.
Beal, or Paul Pierce.
I think Paul Pierce.
I wouldn't consider him the face of the team. I would consider him the leader of the team. But I think the
To me,
face,
that's one and the same.
I don't think so.
You're going to say Wall.
Because you got to look at the old Miami Heat teams.
Yeah,
LeBron was the face of the team, but who was the leader of that team?
yeah,
Dwayne Wade, right?
yeah.
Okay. So I don't think they can be. They can be. But look at OKC right now. Who's the leader of that team now?
Westbrook.
Okay, but who's the face of the team?
Durant.
Right. So they're one.
They don't necessarily have to be one
They're
and the
one
same.
and the same sometimes.
Sometimes.
Most of the time they are.
Yeah.
Most of the time they are.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think John Wall's the face of the team. But I don't think there's any question.
What's the better deal for Paul Pierce?
You want a ring?
No, I'm talking monetarily. He's gonna lose all the money.
Oh, I think the Clippers would offer him more than Washington would.
Okay.
They've got a bigger market.
Okay, that's number one.
They've got a bigger market.
Of course they do. Los Angeles and New York.
They've got more room to work with, and
Yeah.
Pierce is only looking for 1 year.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem is you've got to put so much faith into that 1 year that you're gonna get the job done. And look at what the Clippers did in this playoff.
Yeah.
They absolutely blew it. Okay? I don't know if I'd have that much faith. But I damn sure give it a try. Yes. I think he needs to either go to Los Angeles, or what I think he should most honestly do is go back to Boston and end his career there. No matter how poor they are, and honest to God, I don't think Boston's a poor team. They made the playoffs. They just didn't have that guy. Number one, they had injuries. Okay, let's not
Yeah.
forget that. Number two, they didn't have that guy. But they've got a good draft pick coming up.
Yeah, but Washington went far too, baby.
They did. But I think you either go to the Clippers or I think you end your career where you established your legacy. I'm about that. I'm sorry. That's what Allen Iverson did.
Yeah.
That's what Kobe's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm
let's
about
be
that.
perfectly honest. Besides,
Tim Duncan.
Most of the time, the money is the key factor that helps them make a decision.
I don't think that's it.
Wait.
with Pierce, though.
There's usually three things. Number one, and in no particular order because it depends on the person, but the three things that usually make the decision for these players: the wife and the family. Do the wife and the family want to move across the country? Because sometimes that's what it involves. Number two, monetary. Is he going to get a pay increase? Is he going to have to take a pay cut? Okay. And number three, are they in a position, this other team, to help this player who only wants to play one more year win and get that ring?
And I think that's the most important thing with this man.
Okay. Depending on the person, it could be any one of those three things. I think where Paul is concerned, he wants, just like Kobe, they want to leave on a winning season and they want to leave with that ring.
Then he needs to go to Los Angeles.
I agree. I agree.
I think, yes, he's going to clash with Blake Griffin, but I think that if anybody...
Wait a minute. They both going to be on the court at the same time?
Oh, absolutely. They don't play the same position. They don't play the same
Paul's
position.
going to play
Small forward. Blake
small
Griffin's power forward.
Which means they're going to, they're both power forward and small. They're going to have to play together.
Oh, absolutely. And I think
they're going to
there is
have
going
to
to
play
be some drama there.
synonymously.
I think there's going to be some drama there.
Yeah, but look who the
I
coach
think-
is. I don't think Doc's not going to put up with that.
And I don't think Paul Pierce is going to put up with it. I think he's going to sit down with Blake and say, okay, look, here's what you're here for.
He outranks him by how many years?
15 or so.
Yeah, I was going to say 12.
I think they're going to have a come to Jesus meeting and say,
Well, they're
okay,
going to
look,
have to.
here's what I'm here for. Here's what you're here for.
Right.
Here's your job on this team. Here's my
Right.
job on this team.
Because
now let's come together and
I
let's do
don't
it.
mean to be ugly to the public out there who love Blake Griffin.
And I like Blake
Okay,
Griffin.
but there's still enough immaturity in Blake Griffin and enough of,
I don't know if I'd call it immaturity as much as I'd call it inexperience. With
It's
playing,
both. It's a
with
combination
playing,
of
because
both.
when you look at Chris
okay,
Paul,
but let me finish my thought. I can see him holding on to the ball, even though Paul's right there asking him, throw it to me, to prove that he is looking for a spot to drive through and make that
to
basket.
me that's inexperience. Because Chris Paul
That's
is not
immaturity.
because Chris Paul is not that type of player. He's not the type of player.
You talking about Paul Pierce
No,
now?
I'm talking about Chris Paul right
Okay.
now. I'm saying Blake Griffin has never. Yes, Chris Paul is loud and vocal, but that's his job on that team.
Yeah.
He is not going to get in your face and say,
No, he's gonna
"Listen-
run around your face."
Listen, boy,
Yeah.
Blake Griffin has not played with that type of player yet. That's where I think the inexperience comes in.
Right. Chris just goes out there and does what he needs to
Correct.
do.
Correct.
Till he chokes.
I told you. I told you.
I can't believe I just said that.
I told
for
you.
the whole world to hear.
I told you. I don't want to hear it. I warned all of y'all. When Houston won that game, I warned all of y'all.
Do you think the addition, I'm gonna add a question to your list of questions. Do you think the addition of Paul Pierce to the Clippers will help Chris Paul to relax and not choke?
Are you asking me?
Knowing that he has a fallback person.
Are you asking me, is the addition of Paul Pierce going to help Chris Paul get that ring?
Yeah.
Depends on what they do with DeAndre Jordan.
They've already re-signed him.
No, they have not.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. They announced it night before last. Yes, they did.
They are looking to re-sign him.
It scrolled across the bottom of the TV.
They made an offer to him. He has not been re-signed. We would have heard all about it, and we'd be talking about it today. They have not re-signed him yet. They are planning to re-sign him. And that 5-year, $100-something million deal that you saw, that's what they are offering him.
Well, he's not worth that much.
That's like what's going on with Anthony Davis. 5 years,
not worth that much.
5 years, $140 million. That's what
Anybody
we're
that makes
planning
that
to
much
offer
money
him.
should be able to make a free throw.
I agree. Depends on what they do with DeAndre Jordan. What are they going to do with that center spot? I don't know.
And if they get rid of him, what happens?
I think they need to get rid of him because I think he's
I do
nothing but a
too.
lackadaisical.
I think he's a liability.
I do too.
Okay, and if they get rid of him,
So
the only
they
thing he's
need
good
to-
for is rebounding.
So they need to get somebody that is not necessarily a superstar, but that is capable and is comparable to Blake Griffin. I don't know who that's going to be, but
You're
we'll
talking
find
about
out.
a big man here.
Mm-hmm.
How many big men are going to be available in the free
a lot.
agency?
A lot.
Okay.
And look at draft picks.
Okay.
There's a lot of big men coming into the draft.
When are they going to make this decision? I could have sworn I read that
Off-season.
it is a
They are-
definite
no,
deal.
They are planning to offer him that.
And is it true that they locked Bogut into another deal?
Yes, they are planning to re-sign Andrew Bogut too. Golden State is. LeBron James.
Okay, you never answered my question.
I depends on what they do with that center spot. If they can get somebody comparable to Blake Griffin, because that's where you have to take Blake Griffin's game into account, because those are the two big guys. Okay? They have to get somebody.
I don't call Blake Griffin the big man.
He is a big man. He's 6'10". He's 6'10",
He doesn't
250.
play like a big man.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Big men play differently.
Right.
Anthony Davis doesn't play like a big man.
No.
You don't see Anthony Davis posting up and crap.
No.
Absolutely not. But he's a
Okay.
big man.
Okay.
He's 7 foot.
So if they get rid of Jordan,
They need to sign somebody comparable to Blake Griffin and somebody that can run at the tempo that Chris Paul runs that offense. I don't think Paul Pierce is going to have any trouble at all. I think he could be the thing that puts the Clippers over the top.
and if they don't get rid of Jordan,
Still, I think that will put them over the top because Jordan's there for rebounding and nothing else, which is what the Clippers need. Because Blake Griffin, you can't start him at the center spot. He's only 6'9".
he's going to be targeted as the hack-a-shack every
Not
time.
if they do something with that rule this offseason.
Well, that's true too.
LeBron James says, quote, Matthew Dellavedova doesn't deserve a bad rap as a dirty player. Very touchy subject. Yvonne, the question is, does Dellavedova
Yes,
deserve that rap?
Yes.
Why or why not?
because the proof is in the pudding. We've seen it happen too many times. Okay, one time is bad enough. 2 times, you could say it's maybe a coincidence. 3 times? No. 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 Sorry. And that's my justification for it. If that's the only way that he can help win a game, and if that's the only way that look, after what he did to Gibson and, okay, I'm going to let Horford go. Because that one is on the fence.
I think the one to Gibson, honestly, was the most intentional one. Because with the one with Korver, there was a loose ball on the floor. Okay? I'm not saying there was an intent to hurt Korver there.
Oh my
But
God.
at least the ball was on the floor.
Yeah.
Gibson?
No. That was as
Okay.
deliberate as deliberate can
Okay.
be.
So we're on the same wavelength
Yes. Yeah. He's a dirty player.
I have a problem with the words dirty player. And I'm going to explain.
Okay, please do.
Because
oh,
dirty
you can
player-
call it anything you want.
Because dirty player is what you call a label. You are
Okay.
labeling
Uh-huh.
somebody, and labels don't change. They follow you. We have seen the best of players get involved in some raunchy stuff.
Yep.
Let's remember, our boy Chris Paul is known for low blows. The low blow to Marc Gasol in the Western Semis 2 years ago. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay? He did it in college. He did it once when he was a part of the Hornets. Do we call him a dirty player?
This is 3 games in
That's
a
3 games.
row.
That's 3 games. Is Chris Paul a dirty player?
No.
Okay. Kobe Bryant. He's been in some scuffles in his career. A couple that he actually started. Is he a dirty player? I
No.
wouldn't consider Kobe a dirty player.
No.
Even the man himself, Paul Pierce, that we were just talking about. We've seen him get in players' faces.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not a dirty player. I have a problem.
Dennis Rodman.
Okay, that's a dirty player.
Okay. Why?
Because there was intent to hurt every time he did something. Every
How in
Time.
the world can you make a distinction in your mind between what Dennis Rodman did and what Dellavedova has done in the last 3 games?
because Dennis Rodman would punch people. I've never seen Matthew Dellavedova take a swing. I've never seen Matthew Dellavedova headbutt anybody.
Right.
I've never seen Dellavedova elbow anybody. But I had seen.
Dwight Howard,
Okay, I would consider him partially a dirty player. Yes.
you either are or you aren't. There's no such thing as partial.
Oh, sure there is.
Okay, overly aggressive.
Yes, that I will give you. That I will concede.
You like that label better.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Because there are players out there that make a living hustling for the ball and diving on the floor. Honest to God, there is no way as analysts that we can prove 100% that Dellavedova wanted to injure those guys. There's no way we can prove it because we can't read his mind. Now,
No, but he knew when he was diving at Gibson, he knew.
the Gibson one, I'll give you.
Anytime. Like I said, I never agree with Jeff Van Gundy, but like he said last night, any player out on the court, especially in the playoffs, when you dive at another player's knees, ankles, or feet, you know that you run the risk.
The Gibson one, I give
You
you.
know you run the risk of really
The
hurting
Taj
that
Gibson,
guy.
the Taj Gibson incident, I give you. I am with you. The Kyle Korver incident, I am partially there because he did make a play for the ball. Should he have dove at his feet? No. But at least he was making a play for the ball. I don't know if I can call this kid a dirty player.
Well, I don't like the terminology to begin with.
I don't like labeling anybody unless they are unquestionably deserving of that label. Dennis Rodman is a dirty player. Ron Artest,
Was a very.
malice at the palace,
There's another one.
fighting the
Who
fans,
was the other?
dirty player.
There's another one. Papa was talking about him the other day. He changed his name.
Oh, Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah.
Bill Laimbeer, dirty player. Okay? There are people that are known as dirt. Matt Barnes. I would almost consider Matt Barnes a dirty player because of the stuff that he has been involved in his career. I
Oh
don't
gosh,
know.
one of the games the other night.
I don't know if I'm ready to call Dellavedova a dirty player. Now let it happen
He
again.
does it again tonight.
Let it happen again at any
He
point.
needs to be thrown out of the league.
Let it happen again, and let's talk then. But right now, I'm basing it off of 1.5 incidences. Okay? I can't call the man a dirty player yet. let it happen again, or let something intentional happen, let's talk again. The Celtics ask point guard, the one that plays for them, Isaiah Thomas, to help with free agency. Not Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas Jr., the one that plays for Boston.
Wait a minute, what?
They asked Isaiah Thomas,
The player.
yes, for help with free agency. Does he deserve to do this? Why or why not?
No. Wait, what? How do you go out? Wait, the Celtics asked Isaiah Thomas to help with the free agents for their own team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for their own team.
Does he deserve this? Why or why not?
Well, how long's he been playing for the Celtics?
He got traded to him this year. Middle of the season.
My first, I make a decision almost immediately, and then you have to talk me out of that decision.
No, there is nothing but an immediate decision to make with this.
You know,
in my opinion.
And I usually go with my gut, and usually I have an opinion like right away. I'm gonna have to say absolutely not.
Allow me to say this about Isaiah Thomas.
He's
I'm a
awesome.
fan.
Me too.
I'm a fan.
However,
He is not Kobe Bryant.
no.
He is not LeBron James. I think you have to establish yourself before you are allowed this. Because this is pretty big.
This is extremely big, and there's not enough history with the team.
No.
There's not enough experience for the
No.
team, and there's not enough knowledge.
But let's be honest. He's not on that level yet. Just say it.
He's not.
He's a good player.
He's an awesome player.
But he's not on that level yet. I'm
I agree.
sorry.
I agree.
He's not.
I agree.
Honest to God, I looked at this and I laughed.
Is this for sure?
Yeah, this happened. I got no problems with asking your star player for help. Hey, let's help me scout. If I need something, can I call you?
Oh,
If
yeah,
they're
because-
Kobe Bryant.
Oh yeah, because 2 heads are better than 1, and 3 heads are better than 2, and 4 heads are better than 3.
If they're Kobe Bryant, if they're LeBron
if they have
James.
earned the right
Come on. Come on.
to be at that level and have that experience and knowledge.
Come on.
And tenure.
Come on.
And tenure.
So do any players deserve to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. If Dirk had not retired, don't tell me that Dirk would
He hasn't
not have-
retired.
That's what I said. If he had not.
He hasn't retired. Where
I
the
thought
hell?
this was Dirk's last year.
No, he signed a 3-year extension this past season. Tim Duncan is thinking about
I'm
retiring.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Tim Duncan and I said Dirk Nowitzki. People like that who have earned the right, who have proven themselves, who have put in the time and the sweat and the energy and been with the team long enough. That is the key thing. Besides being a vintage and being an experienced veteran player, you have to have been with the team long enough
Well, yeah,
to know
of
what the
course.
team needs.
Of course you do.
Okay? Because even Tim Duncan or even Dirk Nowitzki or people like that, if all of a sudden they were playing for a different team, that would disqualify them because they haven't put in the time with that particular team to know what that particular team needs.
Right, I agree.
So
I
there
think
are.
on
Now-
on one hand, I can tell you the
Me
amount of
too.
players.
Look, we did. Oh my God, that's frightening.
In the league right now?
we both held up our hand at the same time. I can name on one hand.
On one hand, number one, first and foremost, would be Kobe. because he's 37 years old, because he's been with the Lakers for 20 years, because
If
he is the star
anybody has
player.
earned the right,
Okay.
it's Kobe.
LeBron.
To hear, well, I'll give you a perfect, when you told me that Kobe had asked for Rajon Rondo, was I shocked? Absolutely not. He's got the right to ask for whatever he wants. Now, is he gonna get it? We'll see.
LeBron would be number 2 because of his IQ for the game.
LeBron for Miami or LeBron for Cleveland or both?
Both. Both. Number 3 on my list is a very overlooked guy these days, and I don't know why, but it would be Dwayne Wade. Okay, he's been with Miami for his whole career. I think he deserves that right. Number 4 would be Duncan or Dirk Nowitzki, depending on how you look at it. And number 5, I gotta say, would have to be Steph Curry because of what he's doing, because he is the star there, because you have to consult with your star
I
player.
disagree with your number 5.
Why?
Because I think he's too young and I don't think he's been with the team long enough.
He's been with the team for 5 years, but this is his breakout season.
I would say Paul Pierce.
But he just signed with Washington,
Right.
but that disqualifies him.
I agree. If he was still with Boston, I would say Paul Pierce. Chris
I could,
Paul.
Yeah. Okay.
Chris Paul.
Okay. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. They've been with OKC for 5-6 years. I mean, Chris Paul's only been with the Clippers for 4.
Yeah. I think there needs to be a cutoff point.
Part 2 ends here. Part 3 and the final part coming at you next.